I'd put things like this on the refrigerator door. I'd put them in the car. I'd put them on your desk at the office. Because they're things that we can't forget. We have to repeat them over and over and over again. And the first one is that you are unique. That of all the billions who have ever lived, and all the billions that may come in the future, there has never, ever been another human being on this planet like you.
Hello again, everyone. This is Heartbeat, the podcast, featuring insights, stories, and experiences from the more than 50 years of work done by Landon Saunders. On today's episode, we go back to the early 90s, where Landon is visiting with a healthcare organization. Now, here's Landon.
I was watching the Today Show, it's been several years ago, and they did a segment on people with Down syndrome, and they had this kid that they called Moose, and it showed him in the family and performing, and this was a remarkable setting and a remarkable segment. But how much value does Moose have? How much self-esteem? Yes, he's suffering from Down syndrome, but what's his value? And does that take away? Does that subtract really from his value? And it showed him. They entered him into Special Olympics, and here it's in a track competition, and so here goes Moose, and he's chunky, and he's going slowly around the track, and he passes the place in the stands where his family's seated, brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles. And when he starts by, all of them start clapping and saying, "Go Moose, go Moose." And it showed Moose, who got so excited about their applause, that he stopped and he went up in the stands and he hugged and he kissed each one. And then he went back and he continued his way around the track. What's his worth? What was the worth of my father, who had several heart attacks, several strokes, and cancer, that slowed him down to where he moved along very slowly with his cane and his walker? Was he diminished? Was his value, was his worth diminished? Is a person's worth diminished because they grow older? Is a person's worth diminished because they have disease? There are certain things, and these are simple. There's not anything new in the things that I'm going to say in the next few moments. They're very, very simple. They're self-evident, and that's why I call them undeniables. That the first thing that is undeniably true about every one of us is that you are unique. That of all the billions who have ever lived, and all the billions that may come in the future, there has never, ever been another human being on this planet like you. You're irreplaceable. Someone else perhaps could do a job that you do, but nobody can replace you. That because you are unique and irreplaceable, you are responsible. You're responsible for who you are. You're responsible for the gifts that you have. And you're responsible for the wounds that you have. That you are responsible. And that it is a responsibility that nobody else can take care of. I believe this with all my heart. If you don't do the work that's given you to do in this world, that work will never be done. Doesn't mean the world isn't going to go on. But every single human being brings a dimension to this world that nobody else brings. It's what can make the world so interesting. It's what can make the workplace so interesting. If we knew how to appreciate each other, if we knew how to esteem each other, if we knew how to recognize this worth and this value in each other. So that if this work that you have to do, that nobody else can do quite like that. There are lots of people who do work similar to what I'm doing, but I never get myself confused with them because I'm a unique person. Nobody is going to do this quite like I do it. Now you may say that's good, but I'm just announcing the fact. Nobody has this combination of genes and of skills, of patterns, of thoughts that are just like mine. I'm unique. The second thing that is absolutely undeniably true is that you are the only person you're absolutely sure of spending every night the rest of your life with. The only one. That's not a small matter.
Landon will be back in less than 30 seconds, but we want to take this moment to remind you that you can always find out information about other materials that are available from Landon Saunders' work by visiting our website, thisisheartbeat.com. There's never any obligation, and we respect your privacy completely. Thisisheartbeat.com. Now, back to Landon.
The third thing that is absolutely, undeniably true about every one of us is that you're the most valuable thing in the world. There's nothing on the planet that comes with the value that is in any one of us around this table this morning. I was teaching in a university a few years ago, and there was a student that I met early, and the student was not in my class. It was a young woman from the Midwest. And she had terrible, terrible complexion. She was quite creative and quite a remarkable young woman, but just loathed herself. As poor a self-esteem as at the time I thought I'd ever run into. And in dealing with her in 2 or 3 counseling sessions, I said to her one day, I said, Jeannie, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to be here for a semester. I'll be teaching twice a week. And what I'd like for you to do is meet me at the end of my class. Just meet me at the door and walk to my car with me. That's all. She said, what will we do? I said, nothing. Well, will we talk? If you want to. Don't have to if you don't want to. All I want you to do is just meet me and walk to the car all semester. Would you do that? She said, yes. Do you know, every Tuesday and Thursday for the rest of the semester, as I would start out the door, there was Jeannie. We walked to the car. Sometimes we talked, sometimes we didn't. Sometimes we laughed, sometimes there were tears. But that's basically all we did. A psychologist who was working with her said that act was the most important single factor in this girl's development. I didn't do anything except pay her the compliment on a regular basis of walking to the car. That's all. Sometimes it doesn't take so much. Okay, the next undeniable, we've got 2 more. The next one is you can change. That no matter where any of us might be in this scale or along this, you can change. I've not met any human being yet who can't change. Change can be frightening, but change is also a wonderful adventure. You can make any adjustment in your life that you want to make. Just give yourself plenty of time for the change to occur. We don't get the way we are in a day, and we're probably not going to get over it in a day. And the last one is that we're all worth more than we look like we are. And we can put that down as something that is kind of undeniably true. Now, homework. I always like just a little bit of homework. And so the homework for this session is 3 things. First of all, if you've never done this, go to a mirror, maybe tonight, and look at yourself. Make sure there's nobody in either eye or earshot. This is an experience that needs to be done with nobody looking on. And see if you can look in the mirror and just as simply say, you're a very special human being. I'm telling you, I could stand the rest of the day and do nothing but recite stories of what people have done with that simple exercise. I've had people as talented as you can imagine who came back and said, I could not do it. I could not do that. You know. And so try it. And if you gag a little bit, well, just hang right on and stay persistent until you can begin to get in touch, because this puts you in touch with the fact that you're alive and human and you have a measure of competency about something. The second thing that I'd like for you to do is go to someone in your life. It can be family, someone you work with, and tell them that you haven't told them this for a long time, but it's important that they know it. And if you have to say, you know, I feel a little awkward at this, and it's a little embarrassing, but I'm going to do it anyway, I just want to tell you that you're a very special individual in my life, and I appreciate you. You know, none of us get to hear that too much, do we? So that's the second. Third part of the homework is, I hate to do this one, go to someone who's really ornery. Maybe one of the orneriest ones that you know. And say to them that you have something to say. Tell them that they may be one of the orneriest individuals that you've ever met. Now smile a lot when you say that. And that you've had all kinds of trouble and that they cannot imagine how many of your days they've ruined. They'll be happy to hear that. That'll be like a compliment. But if you said to that person, you know, in spite of that, there's one thing that might not have come through. One impression that might not have come through. But I still think you're a very special individual. You mean a lot to a lot of people, and you have something worthwhile to give. I mean, that'd be a hoot. You know, if we've never done, just to try that. Simple exercises. But those are the things that sometimes we just don't quite get around to.
Thanks again for joining us for today's episode. We hope you'll take time to rate and review the podcast if you enjoy it. This helps others who are looking for the same kind of material. And until next time, this is Heartbeat, the podcast.